Story 1. For context, Jake and I have been together for 5 years. We've built a life together, shared dreams, and made countless memories. Our apartment, nestled in a cozy part of town, was our haven. It's where we laughed, cried, and planned our future. But it's also where everything started to unravel. Our next-door neighbor, Alex, moved in about a year ago. Friendly, charming, and always up for a chat in the hallway. Over time, those brief encounters turned into longer conversations, casual coffees, and before I knew it, feelings I couldn't ignore. One thing led to another, and I found myself betraying the one person I promised to love and cherish. Every time I look into Jake's eyes, I'm consumed by guilt. How do I confess? How do I admit that our home became the place of my betrayal? Every time I tell myself it's the last time, that I won't let it happen again. But the pull towards Alex is magnetic, almost intoxicating. It's like I'm trapped in this vicious cycle of longing and guilt. Every stolen glance, every secret touch. It's like a drug I can't quit. And the worst part, every time I'm with him, I'm reminded of the love and trust I'm betraying with Jake. I thought I was the only secret in Alex's life. But recently, he confessed that he has a girlfriend too. We're both playing this dangerous game, not just with our partners, but with each other. It's a tangled web of deceit, and I'm right in the middle of it. I want to come clean, to free myself from this guilt and start fresh. But the thought of seeing the heartbreak in Jake's eyes terrifies me. And as for Alex, I don't even know where we stand. Is it just a fling for him? Or does he feel the same depth of emotion I do? And first of all, how do I confess to Jake without shattering our world? And how do I handle things with Alex? Especially now that I know he's in a relationship too. I know I've made mistakes, but I want to find a way to make things right. Last update. Jake did something that reminded me of the love we share. Last week, he surprised me with the most adorable puppy. It wasn't just the act of gifting, but the thought behind it. Jake knew I'd always wanted a dog. And in that moment, with that little bundle of joy wagging its tail between us, I was reminded of the dreams and future we had planned together. It was a wake-up call, a sign that I needed to prioritize what truly mattered. I knew I had to end things with Alex. It wasn't easy, confronting him and laying everything out, but I asked him to respect my decision, to not pursue me anymore. To my surprise, he agreed. Maybe he too realized the gravity of our actions, or perhaps he was thinking of his own relationship. Whatever the reason, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. Now, as I watch our new puppy play around, with Jake laughing beside me, I'm filled with gratitude, and I'm committed to making things right. What a whirlwind of emotions. What would you have done in her place? Would you have confessed your secret or stayed silent to preserve the relationship? Comment below and let me know your thoughts. Our next story is about trust, gut feelings, and the lengths one might go to seek the truth. Get ready for a roller coaster of a tale from a Reddit user who had his own set of challenges with his girlfriend. Story 2. My girlfriend, female 28 years old, is lying to me, male 29 years old, about texting her ex. What should I do about it? A few days ago, my girlfriend left her phone down beside me, unlocked while she was in the shower. I'm not a snoopy person, but when I glanced at the screen, I seen that her latest message was from her ex. She had told me that he randomly sent her a dick pic a few weeks ago, and she told him not to contact her again. But when I seen this recent message, curiosity got the better of me, and I read the messages. I know this a huge breach of trust, but I needed to know what they were saying to one another. The messages only started about 2 weeks ago. It was just them sending Instagram reels to each other. There was a bit of small talk, but nothing bad. In fact, one of her messages to him was her bragging about how much sex we are having. I didn't see any bad messages there for me to be concerned about, but I still don't like that she's in contact with her ex. They were together for 10 years on and off, so it looks like she always went back to him. So I'm just worried this is him trying to weasel his way back in. I confronted her about it the other night. I asked her if he has tried to contact her since he sent that picture. She hesitated before she eventually said yes. Told me he was only sending reels on Instagram. Then I asked if she has replied to him. This time, she hesitated even longer. At least 4 or 5 seconds of silence before she answered, which I found odd because it was a simple yes or no question. She told me she hasn't replied to him. I knew straight away it was a lie, just from how she paused. And I also seen the messages. I didn't want to argue over it because we were having a good evening together, and I didn't want to ruin it. So I told her I believed her and trusted her, just to see if the guilt would eat her up a little, and she would just confess to me. But it didn't. A day or two passed, and it's playing on my mind. And I'm not doing a good job hiding the fact I'm clearly annoyed. So she keeps asking me what is wrong. I eventually tell her I'm annoyed, that I know she's lying about texting her ex. She then tells me she's sorry she lied, and she had replied to one of his messages, but didn't recall texting him back. So that's what took her so long to answer, because she was trying to think if she replied to him or not. She obviously doesn't know I seen the messages. She told me she would block him, and that would be the end of it. She made the mistake of leaving her phone unlocked beside me again, and I seen he had sent her a message only 3 hours ago. The message was unread, so I couldn't open it, or she'd know I'd opened it. He has sent several messages, so I couldn't see what he had wrote, and there was nothing in the notification bar, so she obviously swiped it away. So I wouldn't see it or has it muted, so it doesn't pop up on her phone. I just want to know why she is lying to my face about texting him, if she hasn't actually said anything to him to upset me. I've seen the messages, and they're nothing for me to be concerned about, but she's hiding the fact they're in contact. Also, I'm assuming the reason she paused when I confronted her about it, because she was trying to remember what they were talking about in case I asked to see the messages if she had told me she was texting him. Update. Today, my suspicions were at an all-time high. She was acting strange with me, so I just knew something was up. I dropped her home to her own place. She lives about 30 minutes away. Once I arrived back at my own place, we were texting. Normal conversation as per usual, and then out of nowhere, she texts me saying she's going to hang with one of her female friends for a couple of hours. I replied, telling her to have fun. After an hour, the message I had sent still went unopened, which I found weird, because she always texted me back when she's with friends. I don't force her to text me back, nor do I expect it. It's just something she does. So I found it quite odd she wasn't replying. I knew something was off. I get in my car and drive over to her town and park up the road from her house. And just wait. After about 20 minutes, I see a car pull in and park up for about 5 minutes. Eventually, I can see the silhouette of a woman exit the car. It's getting dark at this stage, so I can't really make out who it is. I was just operating off instinct. This car pulls off and drives past me. To my shock, it wasn't her friend driving the car who she said she was with. While I didn't know what her ex looked like, as I had never seen pictures or anything, I just got a basic description from her in passing. She used words like skinny, scruffy, bad hairline. So it was pretty dark. And he drove past pretty quick. I didn't get a chance to take a good look at him, but I just had a gut feeling. So I start my car and follow him. He finally pulls into a house after about 15 minutes of trailing him, and I still can't get a clear look at him. But I've decided in my own head, this is the guy, so I start planning how to tackle this, and this is what I came up with. I drive back to her house and arrive unannounced. She's shocked, but happy to see me. I'm a very calm and collected kind of guy, so I can hide my emotions very good. So I let on like I'm happy to see her. I tell her to get dressed and put shoes on because I have a surprise for her. She's skeptical but goes along with it, because I always do spontaneous things like this. We're driving along in my car and I keep glancing over at her to try and gauge her reactions. But the whole time she's smiling and asking where we're going. The closer we get, the more I look at her to see if she even has the slightest idea what's going on. She has no idea, or at least hid it so well, right up until I pulled right up and parked behind her ex's car. And I say, surprise. I ask her, does she know whose car that is? And she says her ex name. I point at the house and say, who lives in there? and she says her ex name. I'm finally getting some honesty out of her. I ask her what her reason was for her getting out of his car if she was supposed to be with her friend. She tells me she was in the shop with her friend, and they bump into him, and he tagged along for a walk. I don't buy it for a second and tell her to try again. She tells the same story, so I tell her to open up her messages from him to show me they haven't been in contact. She doesn't know I've seen the messages yet. She refuses and says she'll ring her ex, and he can come out to explain. I tell her not to bother with that yet. I'll deal with him after, but she rings him anyways. This guy eventually came out and I got a good look at him. I'm not one to toot my own horn or attack someone else's physical appearance, but I can tell straight away I'm better than this guy in every way. I'm a good-looking guy and I go to the gym every day, so I'm in pretty good shape. This guy was decrepit looking, scrawny, and had a terrible hairline, like it was holding on for dear life. I almost felt sorry for him. I could see fear in his eyes. He literally just came out of his house. I rolled down my window and told him to get the fuck away. And he disappeared pretty quickly, ran back inside and texted her to see if she was okay. Real coward behavior. I kept telling her to show me the messages to prove her innocence, and I would drop it. But she was refusing. I eventually just told her that she didn't need to show me any messages, because I'd already seen them all, so now she knew I had her caught out. She opened the messages and showed them to me trying to defend what he was saying. But that was a losing battle. Long story short, I dumped her ass, and now I'm on to bigger and better things. I'm just writing this to tell you when you have a feeling deep in your gut that something isn't right, then you should always trust it because your gut knows best. And in the situation where it's wrong, then you can at least explain why you had these insecurities to begin with. Never settle for any less, my kings and queens. How would you have approached the situation? Would you have followed your suspicions as closely? Or would you have taken another route? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're enjoying these tales, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Stay tuned for more stories and real-life relationship drama. We'll see you in the next video.